Just 2 weeks after the hostages were taken, 13 of them were freed, all of them women or African Americans.
Chaos!
Howeay, despite months of negotiations,
Reapers, what's this good? It's your boy Laser. Use for another reaction video. Use the reaction content. 5 most debated and controversial U.S. military operations in history, guys. The military has done a lot of debatable things for that straight enjoy reaction content. Use for more reaction videos like this feature. It's the like button. You subscribe and tickle that notification bell icon. I'll stream daily on Twitch. Also check out music side button platforms. Let's dive straight into this video. Here we go.
A military operation is the coordinated military actions in response to a progressing situation, and hundreds of these are carried out every year around the world by all types of military and government agencies, most of which are conducted at the favour of the public, and we must not forget that. However, every now and then, operations are conducted that raise lots of questions and speculation. Take MKUltra for example, the controversial mind control program conducted by the CIA, which I have talked about before. Or ones like Operation Mockingbird, that I will be talking about in this video, where the United States supposedly conducted a huge media propaganda campaign during the Cold War to manipulate the public. Here are 5 of some of the most debated military operations in history.
There's something eerie about like military and like green vision, bro. It's so scary.
As always, sit back and enjoy. Operation Jade Helm 15. Now, this military exercise was controversial, not because of what the exercise itself involved, but because of the secrecy and the size of it. It was announced that on the 15th of July 2015, around 1,200 US troops, mainly Green Berets and Navy SEALs, would practice in a 2-month training exercise, sprawling across 7 states in the southwest of America. Those states would include Texas, New Mexico, Louisiana, Utah, Colorado, Nevada, and Arizona.
Imagine living.
It was to be one of the largest military training exercises ever performed in the United States, and it had conspiracy theorists suggesting that it was in preparation for martial law. The official
Imagine if they did military training at Area 51, bro. Alright, time we gotta zap all these aliens. You know what I'm saying?
The explanation for the exercise was to improve the Special Operations Forces compatibility as part of the national security strategy. The troops were split into 2 roles as either occupying or resistance forces. Some participants wore civilian clothes and drove civilian vehicles. Most of the operation was carried out in the barren regions near small towns. These areas were chosen to create realistic military training and help troops adapt to unfamiliar terrain.
This looks just like Area 51 in the middle of a desert. I mean, most spaces be in the desert, but like unclassified, you know what I'm saying?
The operation ended on September the 15th, 2015, and was witnessed only by the participants and the Texas State Guard. Journalists were banned, although a civilian group called Counter Jade Helm were allowed to monitor the exercise. But what caused alarm about Jade Helm was when maps and plans for it were released to the public. They showed the 7 states that had been given one of 4 colours. The colours were red for hostile, blue for permissive, brown for uncertain but leaning towards hostile, and light blue leaning towards permissive. This provoked fear, with many believing this was a psychological operation aimed at getting people used to seeing a military presence on the streets, so they would be unaware when an actual invasion happened. It was also theorized that it was an international operation to disarm American citizens and remove key political figures, all part of a secret plot to impose martial law and take population control. Such was the concern that some speculated that shuttered Walmart stores in the area were being used to stockpile military supplies and were bases leading to underground.
Walmart sells like what? Like they sell guns, they sell ammo. Crazy how they sell it at Walmart. I can't believe they sell. I like that's kind of like just like a mind blowing thought. Like I mean, there's nothing like bad about it. I'm just saying like crazy how they have like they just sell guns at Walmart. You know, like why Walmart? I don't know. But they have like a whole ass like permission thing for it.
Even the name drew suspicion, as HELM was maybe an acronym for Homeland Eradication of Local Militants. It may sound silly, but there was a genuine concern, especially in Texas, that the government was trying to take over and an invasion was imminent. Rumours on the internet were flying around, forcing authorities to urge civilians to use mainstream news sources only if they were interested in accurate information. However, even the governor of Texas ordered the Texas state to monitor the operation, declaring, during the training operation, it's important that Texans know their safety, constitutional rights, private property rights, and civil liberties will not be infringed. Even presidential candidate Senator Ted Cruz asked the Pentagon for reassurance about the military exercise, stating, "We are assured it's a military training exercise. I have no reason to doubt those accuracies. But I understand the reason for concern and uncertainty, because when the federal government has not demonstrated itself to be trustworthy in this administration, the natural consequence is that many citizens do not trust what it is saying." To date, there has not been an official explanation for why such a large-scale military exercise was carried out.
Miss me yet? She's got that psychopath look.
And it's left many people wondering what is really planned for the people of America.
Weird. Can they do a draft?
Kidding. Now this one sounds crazy, but it actually took place. In the 1960s, a CIA project was launched that involved using cats to spy on the Kremlin and Soviet embassies. In a procedure that took over an hour, a surgeon implanted a microphone in the cat's ear canal with a small radio transmitter at the base of its skull and a tiny wire attached to its fur.
He's on me.
The idea was that the cat would be able to wander around specific areas, recording and transmitting voices and sounds.
Why is he got a cut on him? What is this? He dirty?
Given the unpredictability of the cat involved in this project, further training was required to address the cat's attention span and its sense of hunger.
Cats are so smart.
It was alleged that the total cost of this project was around $20 million.
I love cats.
The first mission involved releasing the cat in a park outside the Soviet compound in Washington, D.C. The aim was to listen into two men who were under surveillance. At the time, reports say the project was a disaster, as when the cat was released, it almost immediately ran into the road.
I thought that cat was missing fucking legs, and oh no, are they about to say the cat got run over by something?
And was hit and killed by a taxi.
That's how it went wrong? That's how it went wrong? Are you shitting me?
However, many years later in 2013, a former director of the CIA's Office and Technical Service, Robert Wallace, denied this happened and claimed that the cat was never released due to difficulties in training, and all of the implants were removed from the cat, which lived a long and happy life afterwards. But also said the project was abandoned after subsequent tests with other cats also failed, and it was cancelled in 1967, deemed a complete disaster and very costly mistake. Details of this bizarre project were only disclosed in 2001, when the CIA documents were declassified. Operation Eagle Claw. On November 4th, 1979, the US Embassy in Iran was stormed by up to 3,000 militant students. They took 63 American hostages, and a further 3 US diplomats were seized at the Iranian Foreign Ministry. Just 2 weeks after the hostages were taken, 13 of them were freed, all of them women or African Americans.
Chaos!
However, despite months of negotiations, 53 hostages were still being held, and by April 1980...
I think that's like one of my worst fears, bro, just being like blindfolded, then I don't know, you're about to get like executed or tortured or some shit like that. Like, clearly these fuckers are about to get like their heads chopped off or some shit like that. I don't fucking know.
A rescue mission was planned. On April the 16th, 1980, the then President Carter approved an operation called Eagle Claw. The project was ambitious and needed to draw on the expertise of all 4 branches of the US Armed Services. The plan was to operate over 2 days and called for helicopters and aircraft to rendezvous on a salt flat, approximately 200 miles southeast of Tehran. On arrival, the helicopters would refuel, pick up combat troops, and take them to a mountain location in preparation for the daring rescue mission the following night. On April the 24th, the helicopters landed on the salt flat, although the first part of the operation did not run smoothly when a bus carrying 40 Iranian passengers was spotted on a nearby road, forcing ground troops to intercept and detain all 40 passengers in an attempt to preserve operation security. In addition to this, 2 of the 8 helicopters developed mechanical faults and could not complete the mission. This delayed the other 6 helicopters by 90 minutes, an incredibly long delay for such a mission. After they had finally landed, another helicopter was deemed unsafe due to unknown mechanical failure.
Helicopter. I forgot the sound effect.
not be completed with just 5 helicopters and had to be
Get to the
aborted.
chopper!
Then more disaster struck. As the helicopters and planes left the salt plain, one of them collided with an aircraft and exploded, killing 5 Air Force personnel and 3 Marines.
Fuck no.
The rest of the group abandoned the other 4 helicopters and were quickly evacuated by plane, leaving behind all of their equipment, weapons, maps, and the dead. The mission
So
was...
why did every person, like, during war times, like, always have these exact shades? It's always like the thick ass mustache and the shades, bro. Like, bro, why did every motherfucker during like the war periods, like Vietnam, all that shit, always have like that fucking like that time traveler look? You know what I'm saying? The good old thick mustache and the thick ass sunglasses. You know what I'm saying? I don't fucking know.
Was a complete failure. After investigations, it was concluded that the weakness of Operation 𝐈𝐭'𝐬 arose from a lack of coordination between the military services and inadequate training and equipment, costing the lives of 8 servicemen and 1 civilian. Operation 𝐈𝐭'𝐬 helped transform US military internal operating procedures. They signalled the rebirth of Special Operations Forces within the US military, and marked the debut of the US Army's Delta Force, which led to the development of elite counter-terrorism forces such as SEAL Team 6, who took out Osama bin Laden, in what would be another controversial and highly debated...
Yeah, I remember they like announced it on like a fucking sport game and everyone was like going crazy about it, yeah. We got a whole crew here. We got the whole squad. Call of Duty IRL.
with Operation. Let's talk about that.
Military photos go
Operation Neptune Spear. In late 2010, US authorities were alerted to a housing compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan, after placing the complex under 24-hour surveillance and making repeated sightings of a tall man with a scraggly beard. Although there was no positive identification, there was enough evidence to suggest that, after 9 years of searching, Osama bin Laden, the Al-Qaeda leader, had finally been found. After being given all the surveillance data, President Barack Obama gives the go-ahead to raid, and on May the 1st, 2011...
Why is that photo censored? Is there people having sex there? Is that a nude photo?
In a televised address, Obama confirms that Osama bin Laden has been killed in a US military operation codenamed Neptune Spear.
Did they just take this from a video game? What?
The operation itself is too long to talk about in this video, but since this day, speculation has been rife, and the full details of what happened have filtered through over the years, with many stating that some questions have been left unanswered, many of which surround the thoughts that the White House officials made false statements about the operation. The biggest theory is that the Pakistani intelligence were keeping bin Laden captive in Abbottabad and were waiting for the US to stage a raid to hand him over. After all, bin Laden's compound was an eyesore and was less than a mile from the Pakistani military academy, who said they had no idea where he was hiding. You have to wonder how they could not have been suspicious is beyond many people who do not believe the initial story. The fact that Abbottabad locals also phoned police during the raid commotion, and the fact the local army told them everything was under control that night, makes some question if the Pakistani military knew of the raid beforehand, something the US has denied. The SEALs supposedly involved in the mission to kill Osama bin Laden also later spoke out and gave many contradicting reports of what happened during the operation. Two of them, in fact, gave different accounts of the same mission, meaning either they were not part of the raid in the first place, or someone is lying. The second thing is that not one photograph of bin Laden has ever been released, and there's still no solid proof he was killed apart from the various reports. Some believe this could be due to the fact that he may have already been killed years before. After all, he supposedly had some various medical conditions. The Pakistani president said that bin Laden had died sometime before 2002 due to kidney failure, and had 2 dialysis machines on hand. However, in the pictures that came out of the compound, none of them showed any sign of medical equipment, so it's unsure where the Pakistani government got this information. After bin Laden was killed and the compound was searched for intelligence, his body was placed into a body bag and loaded onto a helicopter.
Helicopter, helicopter, look at all the helicopters, bro. The green thermal. This is... oh man, I don't know why this picture just feels so warm and cozy.
Bone marrow and DNA samples were taken, and bin Laden was flown to Afghanistan. Back in Afghanistan, he was identified and photographs of his body were taken. After supposedly consulting his family in Saudi Arabia, it was agreed bin Laden should be buried at sea, according to the US, in keeping with Islamic
Bury him in
tradition.
hell.
All of this took
See him in
place in
heaven?
under 24
Ooh.
hours. There are also questions about why he was killed in the first place and not taken alive, as he was apparently unarmed, and would have been more valuable to intelligence services if he had not been killed. If anyone can shed some light on these conspiracies, it's 𝐈𝐭'𝐬, who ran the
Give me that
CIA
look. Want a kiss?
unit responsible for the Bin Laden hunt. He said he doesn't know why they didn't release photographs, as secrecy breeds conspiracy theories. He also stated that 100% of the story that's out there is true, but not 100% of the story is out there. Simply put, the fact the supposed SEALs spoke out, and the theory surrounding Bin Laden's body, it's not hard to see why many people still question the exact timeline and circumstances surrounding Operation Neptune Spear, and believe there's more to this than what is being told.
10 most wanted.
If you want to learn more about Osama bin Laden, then there's a really interesting
Am I on here? I'm most wanted. It's something to joke about,
article on the top 5 site.
Dude, I remember when I was young, bro, I used to have to do like these article fucking projects. They were the most boring thing ever. You'd have to like write like a 10-page pager on like a fucking news article that's like current for like, I don't remember what it was, social studies, whatever. Oh man, 2016. Oh man, yeah. This was like 7th grade-ish. I hated school, man. I had such a bad school experience, but yeah.
You would enjoy. I've also narrated it for you to listen to, if you prefer not to read. Operation Mockingbird. At the height of the Cold War in the 1950s, the CIA needed to gather more intelligence and attempt to influence public opinion. So they came up with Project Mockingbird. In effect, it was a domesticated propaganda campaign, which involved recruiting journalists from across the US who could provide the CIA with direct access to some of the most influential media outlets in the country. The aim was to promote the views of the CIA covertly through these outlets. The project infiltrated a variety of media outlets, such as newspapers, news agencies, radio and television stations, as well as books, foreign media outlets, and student groups. The operation remained a secret and wasn't exposed for over 25 years. Contrary to popular belief, these media outlets were well aware of what was going on, and journalists and students were said to be recruited by the CIA. Among their tasks was gathering simple intelligence and serving as go-between with spies in communist countries.
Look at all these people, bro. They all look like you know, marred slaves, bro. Everyone is a slave nowadays. We're all just being mind controlled by society and all the distractions. This is like a deep photo right here. This is society. This is society with all the distractions and all these people becoming slaves. That was very deep. And then we got, what are those pottery vases over there? Is there clay in there I can jack off to?
On some occasions, CIA agents would disguise themselves as journalists when seeking intelligence abroad. The journalists and media organizations were not just little backstreet publications either. They recruited award-winning journalists, along with America's leading news organizations. Despite many of Mockingbird's operations being carried out overseas, the primary goal was for hard-hitting stories to be reported in the American press.
This gives me vibes of that one porn episode where the motherfucker was giving a hand job in the pumpkin. Is that what he's doing with his head? He's giving a hand job in there. What are you doing?
It's been alleged that the CIA also went as far as rewriting scripts for Hollywood productions to portray capitalism in a positive light. One famous example of this was in the movie version of George Orwell's book Animal Farm. Orwell was known to be a socialist, and in the book he attacked both capitalism and communism. However, in the film, the CIA allegedly changed the ending, eliminating any attacks on capitalism.
Pig.
Operation Mockingbird supposedly ended in 1976. However, there are some believe that it's still ongoing, although the last person to voice this concern was researcher Steve Kangas, who in 1996 claimed that the billionaire owner of a foreign news organization called Forum World Features was a CIA asset and was using his organization to distribute propaganda for circulation in the United States.
Yeah, take control of your mind, bro.
Shortly after his statement, Kangas was found dead with a bullet in his head. His death was officially ruled as a suicide, although it was reported that there were discrepancies in both the autopsy and the police report. We've been led to believe that the United States press is detached from government interference, Although in a situation where the manipulation is completely secret, the American society has been left ignorant of the propaganda they have been reading for decades, and it seems more and more people are starting to voice their concerns on this matter. So there's 5 military operations that are shrouded in mystery.
Well guys, it was a video. I hope you enjoyed it. Which one of those controversial military situations was most interesting to you? I'll see you in the next one. Peace!